Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nityam on a Saturday morning. Today we'll be continuing to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 27, Verse 27. This will be a recorded class of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavati Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So everyone come closer. Let me say how close you can come to me. Come. पीछे से आगे आ जाओ थोड़ा सा, नहीं तो बीच में खाली रहने से फायदा नहीं होगा. माता जी लो प्लीज. तुम ऊपर बैठ जाओ. और है क्या कोई बाहर? देखो नहीं तो दरवाजा बंद कर देंगे आप. जल्दी आने को बोलो. बस गेट क्लोज्ड. हरे कृष्णा. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Hare Krishna. ये ठीक है वो खोल दो 15 मिनट तक रहने दो जगह तो है Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto 27th chapter attack by Chandavega on the city of Puranjana, text 27. Kalo kanna Kalo kanno dito bacho Kalo kanno dito bacho Nishamya Javaneshwaraha Chikirshur Deva Guiham Sa Sasmitam Tam Abhashata Kalokanno Dito Vacho Nishammo Javaneshwaraha Chikirshur Deva Guihamsa Sasmitam Tam Abhashata Kalokanno Dito Vacho Nishamya Javaneshwaraha Chikirshur Deva Guihamsa Sasmitang Tam Abhashata Kalokanno Dito Vacho Nishammo Javaneshwaraha Chikirshur Deva Guihamsa Sasmitang Tam Abhashata Mataji. By the daughter of time, Udita expressed, Bachaha words, Nishamya hearing, Javana Ishvaraha the king of the Javanas, Chikirshur desiring to execute, Deva of providence, Guiham confidential duty, Sa he, Sasmitam smilingly, Tam her, Abhashata addressed. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. After hearing the statements of Kalakanna, daughter of time, the king of the Javanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. Please repeat after me. After hearing the statements of Kalakanya, daughter of time, the king of the Javanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his Okay. So, those who don't have iPhone. The king of the Javanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 5:142, it is said, Akole Ishwar Krishna আর সব ভৃত্য যারে জয়ছে নাচায় সে তৈছে করে নৃত্য. Actually, the Supreme Controller is the personality of Godhead Krishna, and everyone is his servant. Javanraj, the king of the Javanas, was also a servant of Krishna. Consequently, he wanted to execute the purpose of Krishna through the agency of Kalakanya. Although Kalakanya means invalidity or old age, Javanraj wanted to serve Krishna by introducing Kalakanya everywhere. Thus, a sane person, by attaining old age, will become fearful of death. Foolish people engage in material activities as if they will live forever and enjoy material advancement. But actually, there is no material advancement. Under illusion, people think that material opulence will save them. But actually, there has been much advancement in material science. The problems of human society, birth, death, old age, and disease, are still unsolved. Nonetheless, foolish scientists are thinking that they have advanced materially. When Kalakanya, the invalidity of old age, attacks them, they become fearful of death if they are sane. Those who are insane simply do not care for death, nor do they know what is going to happen after death. They are under the wrong impression that after death there is no life, and consequently they act very irresponsibly in this life and enjoy unrestricted sense gratification. For an intelligent person, the appearance of old age is an impetus to spiritual life. People naturally fear impending death. The king of the Javanas tried to utilize Kalakanya for this purpose. Kalakanno dito bacho nishammo javaneshvaraha chikirshur deva guihamsa sasmitam tam abhashata. After hearing the statement of Kalakanya, daughter of time, the king of the Javanas, began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. So although this verse ends rather incomplete, but Prabhupada gave a very nice purport to that. This says that Javanaraj addressed Kalakanya and he spoke. So what he spoke will be discussed in tomorrow's class and 2 other classes. There are 3 verses after this which ends the chapter. So here Prabhupada is pointing out in his purport that Javanaraj is a devotee of Krishna, is an agent of Krishna. He knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he is acting for Krishna's interest. So he saw Kalakanya approached him. Who is Kalakanya here? Kalakanya is old age, the daughter of time. What happens with time? In course of time, everyone becomes old. Our life is the soul's existence in the body. So at the time of birth, the connection between the soul and the body is very faint, very feeble. The soul just got the body. And we see when one is born, he doesn't know how to use the body. The child, newborn baby, doesn't even know that it has a body. But then with time what happens? The connection between the body and the soul becomes stronger and stronger. We can consider it like this. There is the soul, there is the body. So soul and the body comes together. Right? The soul got a body. But this connection between the soul and the body is very feeble. But then with time what happens? The connection becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And then at the time of youth, what's the connection like? Perfect connection. The soul and body is in perfect harmony. So that is the prime of youth. That's why youth is so full of life, so full of vitality, so full of energy. So then what happens? That when the youth is over, then gradually the connection between the soul and the body begin to diminish. It went like this to this, and now it starts to become from this to, and then gradually what happens? It comes to this point, and then soul leaves the body. This is the wonderful arrangement of time. Actually, who is time? Here also we have to consider one thing. Who is time? Time is Mahakal. Right? We are sitting at his place. And this Mahakal is an expansion of Shankarshan. So, time is an expansion of Balaram. From the spiritual world, the expansion takes place from Balaram in the form of Shankarshan, in the form of time. And that time actually affects the material nature. The first factor of material creation is time. It's through the time everything becomes manifest. We all are moving in time. Take the time factor away, the whole material creation will fall apart. So this is how this material nature is dependent on time. But the material aspect of time is birth, old age, death. So the ultimate consideration of time actually is death. Not only old age, the ultimate effect of time is death. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, what did he say? Kalosmi. What is the rest of the line? Lokokshaya krit prabridha. Lokokshaya. I am the destroyer. Krishna, as time, is the destroyer. So here Prabhupada is actually giving us the real purpose of time. Like fine, when you are at the prime of your youth, you want to enjoy this material nature. But for how long can you enjoy? Then the old age comes, then you realize that there is no way to enjoy. foolish people, as Prabhupada is saying, that foolish people, what they do, when they're old, they want to become young. And they think that by taking some medicine or something, they will be able to become young again. And young for them, becoming young means to be able to indulge in sex life. They have created so many medicines, so many aphrodisiac, they are called. So, but why? Why try to enjoy in this material nature? Okay, when you are young, okay, go ahead and enjoy. But when you become old, and when you can't enjoy, then you start to consider, what next? What next? Death is going to come. So, an intelligent person is he who considers the ultimate point beforehand. That's called foresight. The ability to see beyond our immediate perception. That is what intelligence is. Intelligence is like eyes. By the eyes of intelligence, wise people see. Wise people don't see just with their material eyes. Wise people see through their intelligence. Like they consider through their intelligence, they can understand what will happen. What next? They can perceive that. They can understand that. Like intelligent people consider, okay, now it is sunny day, as the expression goes, make hay while sun shines. So now it's sunny day, let's make the hay, dry the hay. Because after the summer, there'll be monsoon. Then everything will become wet. Or now that there's monsoon, just before monsoon, plant the seeds. So that the monsoon will, the water, natural water from the sky will make the harvest grow. So this is how people make plans ahead of time. That is with intelligence. With intelligence, people consider that, well, now I am earning so much money, but there will be a time when I won't have any ability to earn, so let's save some money for the future. This is how people plan ahead of time. So intelligence is to see beyond. More intelligent you are, further you can see. Not with your eyes, but with your intelligence. So who is most intelligent? Who understands death is going to come? That is the final point. They don't even consider that. Death is going to come. They consider even what is after death. What will happen after death? So they want to secure their life even after death. And what's the best way of securing your life after death? By surrendering to Krishna. So who is the most intelligent people? Those who have taken shelter of Krishna. Because they know what that death is going to come, and after death, there's going to be the continuation. One will, not that at death everything will end. That's also Prabhupada is pointing out. The foolish people think that at the end, death, at the time of death, everything will finish. Therefore, don't worry about after that. Now you enjoy. Javat jibet, sukhang jibet. Rinang kritva ghritang pibet. As long as you're alive, you enjoy. And even if you have to borrow money, drink ghee. And so, there is another verse after that, I forgot, which actually says, after all, at the time of death, this body will turn into ashes, so why worry about that? Bhashmi bhutasya dehasya kata kutah punaragamanam bhavet. That when the body is turned into ashes, how will there be any possibility of returning? Kuta punaragamanam bhavet. So that is the foolish conclusion. People who think like that, at the time of death everything will be finished, they're very, very stupid. And therefore they act recklessly, as if, just like a thief is stealing money without considering that he may get caught, or rather he will get caught. And then there will be judgment, there will be punishment. So an intelligent person, what he will consider? I should not steal, because if I steal, I'll be punished. Because in Krishna's kingdom, Krishna is the supreme controller, and nobody can hoodwink Krishna's arrangement. Nobody can bypass Krishna's arrangement. Nobody can escape Krishna's arrangement. Every demigods are watching. Karmana daiva netrena. Every action of every living entity is being watched by the demigods. Every action. Krishna doesn't have to directly get involved. Krishna has his appointed agents. And those appointed agents are the demigods. And they are watching us. And accordingly, the demigods will give us the reactions of our action. Nobody can escape that arrangement. Therefore, an intelligent person will be very, very careful. In that respect, Prabhupada mentioned that in 1942, there was a big famine in India. A very big famine. Actually, it was artificially created by the British. Because the British were trying to engage the Indians in the army, recruit the Indians in the army to fight the Second World War. But the Indians were not joining the army. So they created this artificial famine. They burned the crop. And there was no food. So people are forced to join the army. Anyway, so the main point that Prabhupada is mentioned here is that at that time many people died of starvation. But there was not a single case of robbing or looting any shop or any granary. People wouldn't steal. They would die, but they wouldn't steal. Why not? Because they know that if they steal, then they'll have to be liable for that and they'll be punished. Better die, because then the next life is going to be better. But if I steal and if I do something wrong, I'll be liable in my next life for that wrong action. So that is how profound Vedic culture is, and that is how intelligent people become in the Vedic culture. In Vedic culture, they have such clear understanding. Why don't people do anything wrong? Why don't people steal? Another consideration. You may steal. Stealing means taking something without paying money or without paying the price. Taking it without taking the permission of the person is stealing. When you take something without the owner's permission, that is stealing. So either you take permission or you pay the price. Now you may say that you are getting it free without paying the price, but what is happening? The price is deducted from your credit. There is a big credit card. the the divine credit card. Demigods are holding the credit card. Okay, you took that? Okay, minus so much. You did something wrong? Minus so much. So pap makes it minus and punya makes it plus. You do punya, then there will be credit to your account. And if you do pap, there will be debit from your account. Deduction from your account. Now, do you want your account to become minus, or you want to become your account to be plus? An intelligent person will consider that as more important than money, which is in a gross way. So this is another consideration. Artha, artha, the wealth. The Sanskrit word for wealth is artha. Now, when we come to the consideration, the Vedic way is dharma, artha, kam, moksha. So dharma means acting according to religious principles. And that religious activities or acting in a proper way gives one punya. That is the real artha. Real wealth is pious deeds, pious activities, punya. So an intelligent person will consider how to acquire wealth. That's why we find that in India people are so generous. They give in charity. At least the elderly, previously people used to be very generous. Nowadays people are becoming atheistic. They don't have any knowledge. They are becoming very badly affected by the Western mentality, Western propaganda, Western way of life. Western way of life is ignorant way of life. Vedic way of life is wise way of life. That's why we are seeing in the West now people are accepting the Vedic way of life, especially now that ISKCON is preaching Krishna consciousness so effectively all over the world. People are becoming very much inclined to accept the Vedic culture. So what is the understanding Prabhupada is giving us here? Krishna is the supreme controller and everyone is his servant. Therefore we must act as Krishna's servants. And Krishna's servants means acting on behalf of Krishna means seeing how everything can be engaged in Krishna's service for Krishna's pleasure, for Krishna's purpose. Okay, so here Javanraj is actually considering. Okay, Kalakanna approached me. Okay, I'll use her. How to use her? She will cause everyone to become old, and at old age, people will be forced to think about Krishna. So this is how Kalakanna is going to be engaged in serving Krishna. So that is the responsibility that a devotee has. An advanced devotee always considered how how he can engage everybody in serving Krishna. So here we are seeing Kalakanya, who is daughter of time and who causes old age, but Javanraj has decided, okay, I will engage her in Krishna's service in this way. Anyway, so next 3 verses will explain that very nicely. And so, does anybody have any question? Yes. The thing is, maybe anatomically that is a consideration, but we have to understand that in the age of Kali, everything turns upside down. So, and as a result of that, we can see that the women today are more intelligent. Things have turned upside down. So many countries you can see, like the women are the presidents of the country, the head of the states are the women. In so many departments, you see women are actually excelling. So in Kali Yuga, you can't really make those discriminations because it's total mix-up. And the main consideration is that when one takes to Krishna consciousness, he transcends the bodily designations and he or she becomes situated in spiritual platform. And the spirit souls, when becomes connected to Krishna, then they achieve the ultimate spiritual emancipation. Yes, Madhavendra. Okay, Sukriti means good action, good deed. In simple words, we can say Punna is a material consideration and Sukriti is spiritual consideration. You see, Punya gives happiness, enjoyment in the material nature. But the Sukriti gives one Krishna consciousness or brings one close to Krishna. The result of Sukriti is not in the material plane. It is on the spiritual plane. Like, for example, Agyata Sukriti. Unknown spiritual deeds brings one to Krishna consciousness. Okay. Yes, Jamunapriya. I mean, at old age? Okay. You see, they say, like, old age does bring some wisdom. Yeah, let's put it this way. You see, in youth, the body becomes predominantly affected by mode of passion. Therefore, in youth, one wants to enjoy due to the mode of passion. But when this passion begins to wear off, then if one is properly situated, then the mode of goodness will prevail. And in the mode of goodness, one begins to, develop his natural inclination towards, wisdom. Like passion leads to enjoyment and goodness leads to knowledge. So this knowledge, when it is properly directed, then one becomes naturally inclined towards spiritual life. Like as Prabhupada is saying, that at old age one begins to wonder that death is going to come soon. Prabhupada is saying that one becomes afraid in old age. And out of that fear, he begins to consider, now what should I do? And that leads him to Krishna consciousness. Alright? But the thing is, the real intelligence is not to wait for old age. As Prahlad Maharaj instructed, Komaram acharet pragya, dharman bhagavataniya. Komaram, at childhood, one should start cultivating Krishna consciousness. Read Prabhupada's books, listen to wise advice of senior devotees, advanced devotees. And that is the way out. I mean, that is the only recourse. Because, you see, the thing is, it is there. Everything is there. It's only a matter of being inclined towards it. Generally, we're averse towards it. Vedic knowledge is there. But people are averse to that Vedic knowledge. It's just a matter of becoming inclined towards that. And the moment you become inclined, then, it becomes available. And it's a matter of, then, if one is intelligent, one accepts it. Does it answer your question? No, if you're not satisfied, you tell me what is actually. No. Because when the body is active, use the body for seva. When the body becomes incapacitated, when the body becomes invalid, then do the manasa seva. It was like when you're bedridden. Then activate, do it with the mind. Otherwise, now you try to control the mind and fix it in chanting holy names. That is the business of the mind. Right? Focus the mind in chanting the holy name. This is how you're going to control the mind. Right? And use the body in serving Krishna. You can, like for example, say when you're giving classes, it's not so much of the body, it's more out of the mind and intelligence, intellect, memory. Right? You're speaking. But, then again, at some point you won't be able to speak also. Then what? Then, okay, do it with your mind. You see, like we have three aspects: body, mind, gross body, subtle body, spiritual body. So, when the gross body is active, when your consciousness is in the gross bodily platform, use the gross body in serving Krishna. When the gross body is not active, use the subtle body in serving Krishna. And this is how one will come to the spiritual identity and become engaged in serving Krishna. Somebody can do that, like, when the body is active or young. But what they do, they go to a remote place and meditate. Right? See, this is how they're inactivating the body. Making the body inactive. So body is there, but they're not using the body. But the thing is, Prabhupada pointed out that that's at a very advanced stage. We are not at that stage. we are in a mode of passion. Otherwise, let's consider the other option, other possibility. The other possibility is that he is thinking, okay, I'll serve Krishna with my mind, and with my body I'll get involved in sense gratification. You see, that is dangerous. With my mind I'll serve Krishna, but with my body I will go for sense gratification. So that is why when the body is active, in order to prevent it from becoming involved in undesirable activities, engage the body in serving Krishna. But the ultimate goal is to serve Krishna with the spiritual body. Pure devotional service will be executed with the pure spirit soul, or by the pure spirit soul. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mukunda? Yeah, his life is somehow extended, either with his own punya or with the doctor's punya. So the doctor, with the treatment and things, like whatever it is. And but mind you, one doctor once told me that what the medical science is doing, he's a doctor, very successful doctor. He told me that what this medical science is doing is extending our suffering condition. By extending our life, what they're doing is extending our suffering condition. They are not actually alleviating the suffering condition. They are just extending the suffering condition. Okay, this is from Devadatt. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Pamho, is Shiva an expansion of Shankarshan? Yes. Like Shiva, Lord Shiva, Shambhu has been described in Brahma Samhita, is that, like for example, Lord Shiva is an incarnation of Krishna. Just as it has been described in Brahma Samhita, Kshirang jatha dodhi vikara vishesha jogat sanjayate nahi tata prithagasti heto ja sambhutam api tatha samupaiti karjad govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. In order to perform some very special act or special thing, Krishna expanded himself as Lord Shiva. Shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karjad. Just as milk turns into yogurt. Milk turns into dahi. Now, it is milk that became dahi. There is no difference between milk and dahi. But there is a difference. The milk can become dahi, but dahi cannot become milk. So that is the way it has been described about relationship between Krishna and Shambhu, Lord Shiva. And another way, in the beginning of Brahma Samhita, it has also been described that when Krishna glances, when Mahavishnu glances towards the material nature, then his glance is actually Shambhu. His glance, in one way, is time. Therefore, there is no difference between Lord Shiva and original factor of time. Yeah, so in simple words, yes, Lord Shiva is an expansion of Shankarshan. Therefore, Lord Shiva is meditating on Lord Shankarshan. Rohit from Calcutta, Pranam Maharaj, even after chanting 16 plus rounds and following 4 regulative principles, still there are subtle urges So please guide me. How can we control our subtle material propensities of eating, sleeping, etc.? Thank you. Very good question, Rohit. So eating and sleeping. So eat Krishna Prasad. We have the propensity to eat, so eat Krishna Prasad. And once Prabhupada told me, make sure that the devotees get nice prasad. That is the only sense gratification they have. So devotees are allowed to have only one sense gratification. So that sense gratification is bona fide, as long as you have Krishna Prasad. And sleeping, withdraw from this material nature through sleep and go to the spiritual world. Yoga Nidra. In sleep, we are withdrawn from the material, this external material nature. It's an opportunity to be transported to the spiritual sky. Actually, in sleep, in deep sleep, we come very close to Krishna. In deep sleep, we are out of this material nature. But the thing is, we are out of this material nature, but we couldn't enter into the spiritual nature. So if we can utilize our situation properly, then we can. In our sleep, we can go to Vrindavan. And as you said, etc., so let me also cover those etc. also. So mating then is only for procreating Krishna conscious children. And defending, that is one thing we don't defend. We don't defend, we just depend upon Krishna. We don't defend. A Vaishnava doesn't defend himself. Just our base defense is to take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev. And let anybody come. Let Hiranyakashipu come. Lord Nrsingadev will tear him open. Tear him to pieces. Vinod Kumar from Dubai, Pranam Maharaj, is it necessary to do the tarpan after death of a person? Thank you. You can do it, there is no harm in doing that. But the best tarpan is to chant the holy name and pray that even your forefathers can derive the benefit. Now that you have become a devotee, you can rest assured that your forefathers also will get benefit from that. So this is from Rupali, from USA. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. If there is time, then please can you sing Tava Kathamritam? Okay, Rupali, when we go to America, I will sing it for you. Today, I have to wind up quickly, maybe someday. In the evening, we will try to sing. And okay, let me do it. I'll make this program for you. I'm coming back to Ujjain on 23rd, right? 24th evening, in the temple room at 7:30. No, at 7:15. I'll sing Tava Kathamritam. And Gangadharan, you remind me. 24th, 7:15. Indian time, 7:15, not Indian Standard Time. Then that can be anything between 7:45 and 8:45. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't. It's not mentioned anywhere. So Haridas Thakur is Haridas Thakur. Okay. There hasn't been any mention of his previous name. But we know that he was born in a Muslim family. Yes.
Krishna said, whoever comes there in the spiritual world, he never comes back. So, as we have in the spiritual world, Sadasiv Shlok also, Krishna, Sadhu Shlok. So, is it like the devotees, Shiva's devotees, they are very strong and like they are not worshipping him for any particular activities. So, is it true for them also, like they will go to that harm and they will be involved in this internal conflict?
It will depend, although it is said that Jad Gatvana Nivartante, but still sometimes somebody may come. Like, for example, you can consider the prison house. When somebody is freed from the prison, he saw what prison house is like. So then he wouldn't like to come back again to the prison, because he saw how terrible it is. But if the king appoints him to become the jailer of the prison house, then he may come back. But this coming back is different from coming back as a criminal. So from Vaikuntha, from the spiritual sky, Jadgatvana Nivartante means he doesn't come back as a criminal, but he may come back as an employee of the king. And see, Lord Shiva's abode is like Sadasiva's abode is actually almost in Vaikuntha, but not quite in Vaikuntha. It is below Vaikuntha. Like, for example, Lord Shiva is guarding the gate. So when you are guarding the gate, you are actually not within. You are at the gate. And his associates, some associates may go to, aspire to go to Vaikuntha by his mercy. Lord Shiva may tell somebody, go serve Narayan, like Gop Kumar. Gop Kumar went to Lord Shiva. And when he was glorifying Lord Shiva said, no, I'm not the greatest devotee. The greatest devotees are the residents of Vaikuntha. And then Parvati said, and among all the residents of Vaikuntha, the greatest devotee is Lakshmi Devi. So when, I'm sorry, it's not Gop Kumar, it's actually Narad Muni, the first part of Brihad Bhagavata. So when he was about to go to Vaikuntha, then Lord Shiva said, but even greater is Prahlad Maharaj. So this is how he identified that Prahlad Maharaj's situation is even superior to the residents of Vaikuntha. So this is how Lord Shiva may direct somebody, that don't stay, go further, become a greater devotee, achieve higher status of life. Okay, so I'll stop now, and thank you all very much. Today I'll be leaving for Kolkata. Today I'll go to Bombay. I'll spend a night in Juhu temple. Chopati temple. And then tomorrow I go to Calcutta. And tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday I stay in Calcutta. Then I go to Mayapur. And then Mayapur also I have some seminar. Then I come back to Calcutta. I have a seminar in Calcutta for 3 days. Next Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I come back to Bombay. I have a meeting. And after that, on 23rd morning, I come back here. So, in the meantime, everybody become a very good devotee. So you realize that becoming a devotee of Krishna is the ultimate goal of life? Or do you have any other goal of life? Huh? Do you have any other goal, other objective? But whatever you are doing, many of you are students, so don't neglect your studies. And rather study for Krishna. Study for Krishna and come and make very good results, so that everybody will say that because he has become a devotee, because he became a devotee of Krishna, look at his result. So this is how you preach, through your activities. Whatever you're doing, you do the best, doing the best possible way, and that's how you become a good agent of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande, Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for the wonderful class, Maharaj. Maharaj really covered a very, very, important aspects, and he went a lot of into details. He actually highlighted in terms of how there's a strong bonding between the body and soul, and as we grow, the bonding gets even more intense. He talked about the time being the expansion of Sankrishna and Balaram. He talked about how wise people see through intelligence, the foresight, and he dealt with a lot of that in detail with examples. And he wanted to show that the supreme intelligence is to surrender to Krishna, and how people normally perceive death as an end. That is only very foolish. It is not the end, it's only for the body. And he talked about every action of every living entity is actually watched by the demigods, who are the appointed agents, and the reactions are given accordingly. So, he said that real wealth, very nice definition of is fire seeds, and he was saying we should work towards the Sukriti aspect of it. So I will just stop here. I will request devotees if they have any reflections or comments, just speak up. I just open the lines.
Hare Krishna devotees. Dandavats, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful class with Maharaj. Always as sweet and very, very nectarian, instructive. I just want to add that Maharaj also mentioned that we should be inclined always to do service or anything, any devotional activity, reading, hearing. So that is what is important. Inclination should be there. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other reflections? I just like the way Maharaj concluded that in whatever endeavor you do, keep Krishna. And so even as a student, if you could excel in whatever you do and be the agent of Krishna, so that others, would say, hey, look at the Krishna devotee, how he or she is doing. That is really a very amazing point.
And just to add, Prabhu, and he said that's the best way of preaching. So,
yes, that's right. Prabhupada too actually talked about, that devotees should be there in all the important positions. He was saying so that the world can actually benefit through their influence.
Maharaj is so sweet. He immediately obliged at Mataji's request that he would sing. He gave a date also. He promised. Such a sweet, affectionate.
Yeah. He was so caring to tell his programs, then he's going to be back, and then he was giving the instruction to say, be good devotees. That was something really very touching. Any other reflections or sharing? Okay, if not, thank you for joining us today. Tomorrow we'll be having the evening class, being the last Sunday of Kartik Mass. So we'll be having it evening, 5:30, right from temple. Before we just end the session, we'll just do the Krishna Pranam. This following is Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you. I'll just end the session now.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That is pronounced.